Alright, let's see if I can actually do a marathon feedback run. Well, let's try it, I guess. First up is Nixioma with Descent.
If I let this pen stop, drop and roll, flows might scorch up your dome and it's gonna bend, toe rock your soul, cause deluge ain't stop, dropping gold. If I let this pen stop, drop and roll, flows scorch up your dome and it's gonna bend, toe rock your soul, cause deluge ain't stop, dropping gold.
Alright, so this as a whole was pretty cool. I really like the framing in the first bit, although it's kind of weird that he was red here since he's actually just blue. Maybe you just like add varieties to it or something like this, but I really like the framing. It felt very experimental. It was interesting. The actual like fragging part was, I don't know, kind of mediocre because it lacked the impact. Like I just like the spray finishes and then he just goes to the next clip. Right. And there's no real impact or anything like without it or through it. It's just a very linear thing. It just kind of happens and just goes away. And we cut to the next part, right? And it felt the same way with this thing as well. Like felt like everything kind of was very rushed. There wasn't very much time, like for the slow mo, right? The slow mo, which kind of like happens for like these maybe 2 or 3 frames, even if you can even call it a slow mo part, and it instantly starts going already, which is kind of annoying. I want more intensity in the fast, slow, fast. I want there to be more time for me to actually see this guy, right? I think this is a little bit off sync. I'm not sure though. It felt like it a little bit, but could just be me. Also, I don't know, this pentagram sort of thing doesn't really work for me. I don't think it looks nice, but yeah, I don't know. I just don't think it looks that good. I'd rather it be like, if you were to do something like this at all, to be inverse, right? Where it'd be zooming in more every time, so we can actually see the victim instead of the victim being farther away from us. This is cool though. I like how you use the momentum you got from the polygons being pulled back into the movement here. Although I think you could have added some radio blur on this to kind of sell it a little more. The zoom in here at the end was a little bit wonky, I think. This bit right here, it's too. When you do pan crop, the final result should be that you can't tell. When you're watching it, you can have a little bit more of a hard time telling when you're doing pan crop and when it's not, because like this, it's too jarring, right? It feels like I can very easily notice what's happening, which is kind of annoying, because it distracts from the actual edit. This is cool. I like the pan crop on this bit. The one thing I disliked when I watched this the first time was that how it stopped like right here after the zoom in. It just did another stop, which felt kind of unnecessary. I feel like it could have been better if you like, I don't know, displayed the beat in some other way instead of like killing the momentum you were bringing to the table. Also, I think the velocity here could have been a little slower. You want to see this guy dying, right? And it kind of gets cut off towards the end here. Again with the zoom in though, the zoom in was very linear here. And then the knife, I don't know what happened here, but something happened bad, and now it looks kind of weird, kind of jank. When you do things like this, you should have the twirl bit, like when it's like this, be minimized, right? So you want more time to actually see the victim. Also, I don't think there's actual like scope lines on this, which is kind of odd, but whatever. You want more time to actually see the victim, right? So you don't want to have to see this bit for so long as it currently is. It's a little bit too linear. Things should be more done within the beginning of it, so we can actually see the victim before he dies in the scope. This is no bearing whatsoever on the actual like anything, right? There's no clip after this, so you can't say like there's a clip after it that it provides context too. You can maybe get away with saying that it was part of this clip, but he must have been like 10 seconds away from jumping out from window onto underpass from stairs, right? So it's a little bit strange. I don't think that this sure, it might be cinematic, might be a nice shot, but it's not very relevant at all. Which is why I think you get rid of it or replace it with something else. But yeah, otherwise as a whole, like this wasn't bad. It kind of lacked impact. It's all very quick, very fast paced, but like don't know. I felt like I was missing something. It felt very like you were only on the basics. You definitely could have added a lot more with the effects and impact. That's my main concern. But yeah, otherwise it's pretty good. You know, 23 subscribers. I definitely deserves more subscribers. Although not to say editing actually gives you subscribers. Okay, on the next one. So the actual, I found this was in Alan as well, but this is a more updated version. The better one is over here. The worst one, the previous one was over here. This was from 6 days ago, December 3rd. And the one he posted before was December 2nd, so I'm assuming that the other one was this one. So we're gonna watch this one and pretend that this one doesn't exist. All right, now that's done. Let's get on to this. Alright, so the ending was kind of abrupt. The intro was really loud. The velocity in the POV was actually pretty good though. I don't like that this like I don't like this one frame, the one framer you have here. I don't think that this. Oh, and also there's some tiling over here, but I don't like the thermal vision sort of thing. I think it's too contrasty to the rest of the environment. If you want to do something like this at all, I think I would recommend doing something a little less green, a little less blue. I think red and black would be fine. But these colors that don't actually exist within this scene feel a little awkward. This shake is so weird. The motion tiling is so heavy, and this weird edging on the edges of it, and also like, I don't know, entirely just like a really strange shake. I think you should completely change it. I like the idea of having it like this, but I don't think that, I think that the windows should be above any like directional blur or anything, because they're actual windows on a screen, right? They're not going to be affected by whatever affects the game world. Alright, that's out of the way, and I don't know, this is pretty short. It's good though. This sign was kind of weird, I think. Like, it felt like you could barely see the actual player's head or like their body in full. And by the time you could, this last frame, it already transitions, right? It felt a little awkward in that sense. You could have gone a little more sharp, a little sharper in the intro. I'm not good. Alright, that's all I have to say about this one. Yeah. It was good. I don't have a lot to say about COD edits in general because I'm not really a COD person. So, more CSGO stuff.
Headshot. I hate him. I thanked him. Oh God.
Do you guys care about winning?
Of course. Don't throw, bitch.
Nah, winning's for losers.
This was very weird, but I liked it. I think that the first half was like really felt like very much a beginner edit, and then the second half was actually really good, like a very huge step up actually. I'll play through some of this again though. The main issues I had with it is that the first bit, this particular sign made me think it was like a very like I was gonna like a XVA type edit, right? It was like, oh, we're going to just like disregard the movement, or like very static signs. I felt like it was a trademark sort of thing for this, and it kind of just like completely subverted my expectations with the weird shake here. By the way, this shake and motion blur you have going on here, I don't know what this is all about, but it's a little bit too intense for me. I don't think it really looks good. And again, like with this weird like trailing effect, like over here, right? It just feels like either you screwed up the motion blur by adding resample, or something purposeful. I can't tell, but it just doesn't look good. Also, this, like, just for me, I don't really care about the blur bit. I mean, it is kind of annoying. The blur just goes from blur to nothing in like 2 frames. But the more problem is that this shakes. Oh, this is 60 FPS as well. The shakes are just a little too intense, I think. They don't really match the style that well. You see, like, it's like a jitter shake almost, but it was really strange because it was blurred. So the effect was kind of lessened, but at the same time, it like didn't give anything to the scene. Also, I think the reason, like, I don't know, it is just very weird. I feel like there's no impact on there's no VFX impact at all on the skill, which was kind of unsettling for me to watch. Mainly because like there usually, like, even when you watch a video like this, right, there's some sort of like, even shake on the camera, like, at all, like, right, when you play the game normally, like, I don't know, it feels like the gun has more impact or something like that. I don't know. It feels like it's lacking that basic camera shake that I tend to associate with kills like this, where like it's all like fancy and cool, right? I like this stuff too, right? It's like it feels so weird. I can't tell whether you're like a really advanced editor who's being experimental, or like even throwing it around like that, or trying to like play me, or you're a beginner editor who's like just screwing around with effects and trying to see what looks nice. I don't know, it's hard for me to critique this part, honestly. But again, the shake here, and like the blur, it's just super weird. I don't know, all of it just feels super... Again, I can't tell whether it's a beginner or an expert trying to mess with me. Wait, this is vindogs, right? This is vindogs, so probably not. Probably more of a beginner thing. So I'll take it as a beginner. I'll take it as a beginner face front sort of thing. The way it just like the shake just feels so awkward, and so does the interpolation here. I don't know if you meant to render at 30 FPS because it's 60, but I don't know. It just feels so really odd. This sign is not very good, mostly because it doesn't have a focus point until right over here. I mean, sure, the doorway can be considered a focus point, but then you lose that, and you get to here, but he's still blurred out, right? So the focus point has to be these boxes, which is strange, but then you lose the focus point again. I never even get close enough to him to actually see him, right? Which also is kind of weird. And then he cuts to him being here, which is about like, I don't know, a solid 7-second run with your knife out. Not 7, probably like 5 second, but a solid run with your knife out to get here in the first place. So the sign kind of is, it isn't continuous. The clip isn't continuous. The clip goes from the guy being off in the way corner of ramp all the way over to trophy room, which is a little strange. And then it cuts the next like clip. It's hard to tell like really what you're going for here, to me at least. And the shake here again, like, oh, you said you go, oh, it's shake, right? But the shake is like really shaky and like jittery, I think, which is wrong. It feels wrong when you watch. I like the idea with like how you connect the deagle shots here, but I personally don't feel like it worked that well. Oh wait, that was that. Wait, then okay, if you have this sign here, right, the sign of the guy, right, over here, where like, the guy is going towards the guy, right, and this is clearly is meant for this sign, so why did it take 8 seconds to actually load it, right? It's a solid 2 clips in between, which is a little strange to me as well. I don't know what's happening here. I feel like I'm lost trying to describe or rationalize this edit. And then this sign too, like again, it feels very like chaotic, which is cool. I like the chaotic bit of it, but I can't see the guy, right? I see the top of his head for most of the sign, and for that I barely even see that, right? Because he starts falling out of frame as soon as we get here where he actually starts falling. And again, with these like weird blurs and like whatever during the POV, it's also kind of strange. I feel like you're a beginner editor who is just trying to figure out and drag and drop effects until you figure out how to actually use them properly. And then it completely switches like tones by having no like very cleanish atmosphere to something a little more red, like this. It's in the same map too, which is really strange, and as well as the fact that this is a T, right, and it switches from a T to a CT, and then it just cuts into our Inferno game, which is more red background. But this time the red background only affects the object and not the actual sky, which is different. Alright, I'm kind of just going to ignore this last shot because I'm having a hard time rationalizing the rest of this edit. This bit was interesting. I like this bit. Although it was a little bit too heavy on the glow, I think, for the reshape. Because there's just such a bright map. I liked it. It gave it almost a sort of like different world sort of vibe. Like the framing here, the framing is really nice. I like the way how you kind of added the team comms as well. Super, like, very interesting. Kind of giving you a different perspective on things. Almost like giving like a Foon Bihop vibes or like Lol vibes. Although the actual Ultra Against the POV felt a little strange because again, it's missing that camera shake that I tend to associate with like sprays. It feels very static. This was a demo thing. I know is demo problems, whatever.
Do you guys care about winning?
Of course, don't throw, bitch.
And then this sign, it kind of loses its shine a little bit.
Throw, bitch.
It feels like you just move to like the A and S keys backwards and to the side, which is a little unfortunate.
Nah, winning's for losers.
Ending was cool.
Of course, don't.
And the deal, I don't know, this kind of comes out of nowhere, I think, as well. But again, the environment's really nice. It feels like you could have realistically gotten away with saying this. Like, I just imported this in Blender and changed the lighting, honestly.
Throw, bitch.
But then the signs kind of ruined to me. I don't know. I feel the signs in general feel very amateurish on this edit. But the reshape is pretty good. If it is reshape, I think. Yeah, probably. I don't know. Just gotta get more use with HLE and composition, rule of thirds, whatever. If this is some auteur thing that I don't know about, then maybe I'm undermining you. But if it is, I don't know. Kind of cool. All right, next one.
You don't know the half of the abuse. All my friends are heathens, take it slow. Wait for them to.
Wait, is this Flukzy? Is that it? 1 second. Oh, it is. He didn't actually. Never mind. I'm not gonna skip this one.
Fucked up, don't know where I am. Trying to take my last bite. I'm on the fucking guy. Yeah, too many drugs in my vein. I want you so bad.
This is cringe. Do not add this text. I feel like you're looking for sympathy points. Just put it in the description if you really care that much. And you already put in the name too, which is, again, more than enough. Also, did you actually finish this? Let's just see if you made a finished version of this before I watch the preview. No, you did not. All right. I feel like, wait, I reviewed one of your earlier videos, right? Yeah, this one. I feel like there's a bit of a problem you have with blurs here. I don't know. It's just very extra. Like, you don't need so much extra blur here, and especially this directional blur. It feels very extra. It's okay to have a scene rest for a second, right? It's okay to have people. You actually have to watch the video. So. Again, I don't like this one framer type thing. It doesn't really work for me. Again, it feels like you're kind of missing the impact of this a lot. Like the impact, sure. Maybe on this one the impact actually has some form of value to you, but on the rest of the kills, or even on this one even, there's just not a lot of like to it. It's just like a scale out. But that's an improvement. It's better than that one. I like this, but right after the kill happens, you do a temporal blur. You just completely skip out on like the actual kill, on any impact you could have gotten from the kill. You do the exact same thing here, right? You temporal blur into their backpack, which is frustrating because you have all this generally clean work here, and then you just kind of you're cucking the viewers out of actually seeing a good impact. Because like, sure, the impact might happen through here, maybe you might say, right? Because you have this warp here, and you have the zoom out, but they happen at different times, which kind of staggers it a little bit. It's not enough. Like, I can barely notice the whatever it's called here, the wave warp or whatever you actually used here, because it only happens for like 3 seconds. It doesn't actually animate. So yeah, maybe you messed it up, maybe you didn't. Anyway, I'm still hoping to see more on the impact side of this one. Also, it feels kind of raw. I feel like you don't have a CC on this one, but yeah, that's all things you can work on. Hopefully, unless you already finished the video, because it's been what 20 days since I'm reviewing this. Whatever. All right, next one.
Way too cool to be a fool. Yeah. Turn me up, Bradley.
Niggas tryna tell me pop star mainstream, I get it. Way too cool to be a fool. I get it. Back on the table, looked a little lame, so it didn't take my interest. Spitting that dope that.
Way too
I feel like there's too many rainbow effects in this edit.
cool to be a fool. Yeah. Turn me up, Bradley.
This is a cool idea, but I don't like how you went back to the original sign after fading it in. Like after fading it in, you could have just kept it on this version of it. It doesn't make sense to fade back into that version. It feels like there's too much time wasted fading between signs. But again, with the rainbow stuff, like I was saying before, it's just a lot of rainbow stuff. It's a lot of very like distracting colors. I'm more focused on seeing the rainbow stuff than I am actually seeing on the footsteps until way later into the sign.
Niggas tryna tell me pop star mainstream, I get tell me pop star
And again, like the rainbow stuff, right? It just feels very extra.
mainstream, I get it.
Also, the framing here is a little strange. Like it kind of like stops. I feel like the framing on this one, like it's just her ass and her like small of her back. Like you're missing a lot, and like this is blurred out too. I don't really mind that part, but mostly the fact that the framing is kind of like weird. I feel like you could have done a better job with handling the pancraft on this one. Also, like this sign in particular just goes really fast. It never slows down to like you consider and see her, right? It just continues into her belly until it cuts to the next sign. All right. Again with the rainbow stuff in the background, which is a little more distracting than anything really, because it's making my focus go toward these leaves and how weird the light is traveling through this instead of the actual person here. Also, the rays are also spilling onto this guy, so make sure you use depth next time to block the rays from spilling onto the closer objects. They don't actually need rays on them, right?
Way too cool to be a fool. I get it. Back on the table, look cool to be a fool. I get it. Back on the table, looked a little lame, so it didn't take my
Again, the rainbow stuff here, it feels very awkward.
lame, so it didn't take my interest. Lame, so it didn't take my interest.
That was pretty good though. I think that I'm not a huge fan of the whole like double scope thing, like ever really, but I think that of all things considered, you did a pretty good job executing this one. Again with the rainbow stuff, which is kind of distracting. This POV was done pretty well though. I think it was a little strange to see and notice that there was another guy standing right here, but not much you can really do to hide that except for blocking it, I guess, by just like skipping the reload.
I get it. Back on the table.
Also, it did feel a little weird to have the scope come in like this. Why'd you me though? So otherwise pretty good. And the last one will be Resonance by Mars. Cool ideas, lackluster execution. Let's play some. The 3D text I'm not a huge fan of, but you know, it's fine. I think it could have been a lot better composited into the environment. It feels like as is, it kind of just got slapped in there with no real respect to the lighting of the actual scene. And talking about the scene, this is kind of atrocious. It's kind of ridiculous. The way it has, how bright it is, it's like literally crushing the whites here. You could have done a little bit better job using whatever you use, I think, shine or glow on this. This was cool, but I think you abused it a little bit by stacking on top of each other. This moon doesn't really fit because it looks like it's behind the text, but the text is moving slower than the moon. The way the text kind of like fades out almost is a little strange too. I think it could have just been left there on its own. I don't think it needed that. I like the camera zoom and the camera zoom effect sound, but I don't think it really fits together. I think that considering you zoom out right after, I don't know, it feels a little like forced. I think it could have been better if you on the like the two beats where you like this like weird gray thing, is just instead of fading the gray thing, you fade in the POV twice, and then keep the it's the sign here until the beat drops. Because that's it feels a little awkward how slow it is in the beginning. Also that's pretty much it. Also this grenade was thrown here, right? But the body is still completely visible. Make sure you don't screw up your layers next time. Oh, whoops. Make sure you don't screw up your layers next time. Alright. The velocity, I think, is a little strange here. I think that, yeah, you can see it just trips so much. The player layer and the world layer are screwed up somehow. You can just kind of see how they're not really aligned properly. I don't know what happened to it, but it's really screwed up. Also, the player layer is lagging a ton. And everything's blurred here, right? What are we supposed to be looking at? Like, everything in the player layer is blurred, and everything in the world layer is not blurred. What is exactly the depth of field in this thing, right? It feels very awkward. The compositing is really not there. The eyes are cool. I like this scene in its entirety is pretty cool. Except that the fact that it's placed within a retro 80s type theming, it's not really what we're looking for, I think. The styling doesn't really fit. The green and red doesn't really match the blues and the later oranges and blues we were seeing before. It's a very stark contrast. The displacement map is a cool idea in theory, but the fact that the color changes happens way too suddenly, and the fact that, like, I don't know, there's a bunch of very jarring effects or sharp like moments in this transition that kind of make it not flow properly. This being one of them, this being the next, and this one being the next. It isn't to say you could have done a better job on this. It isn't to say it's completely bad. Again, cool idea, but just not there. The invert shot doesn't really work well, I don't think. I like how you kept doing displacement maps. I think that the one time was good enough. I think you could have gone to a different type of glitch effect if you wanted to do more glitches. I don't think the invert really worked that well though. And I don't think this icy blue, like the CC just changes so much throughout the edit. It leaves me wondering what the actual atmosphere and tone of the edit was supposed to be in the first place. Because we go from, okay, so we have we'll go from this point again. It's like clean, right? Goes to green and red. Duotone blue and weird green sort of thing. Into invert, into colder, into clean again, right? And it's gonna keep doing that through the rest of the edit. It's still strange. Again, with I think this is more more displacement mapping, which again, it can be fine. You just need to find different types of glitches to use instead. There's a lot of white outline around the edges of the gun here, particularly the hand here. Make sure when you add key light to your green screen layer that you set the clip black to 28. That will get rid of this white line here. The zoom in doesn't really work here. I think the zoom in on the weapon is something that beginners tend to do a lot, and it just doesn't really work that well. Just give it a couple more months, I guess, even before you do this again. You need to kind of understand more of the basics before you can try to edit them, right? I don't think that black bar is fitting in really make her a better cinematic experience. I don't like them being used as an effect like this, but personal preference. I don't like the optic compensation on this either. I feel like it takes a little too long to go in. It takes like what? We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 frames. That's what? This is 24 FPS, right? 9 frames is about, I don't know, a fourth of a second. Oh, nearly a half of a second. That's way too long for a pre-kill impact. I think it could have been like maybe 3 or 5 frames. And again, I was saying before with the colorful effects, right? Glow scan, I personally don't like glow scan. I personally don't like the throttling effect you added here. I feel like this is a combination of presets that don't really work well together. I don't think this looks well. I don't think this looks good either. I think that if this was the end of the video, this would make sense. And this shot would make sense until if it was the end of the video. It just isn't the end of the video, so I don't like this at all. Speaking of things I don't like, the player it drops frames here. The clip drops frames here. Something weird happens at the end of this. it stops completely for this last 2 frames, and then it fades in with this weird red solid here, which is also strange because it's kind of like the motion just kind of stops, right? A lot of the motion is very linear here, which is kind of annoying to watch. And this whole whatever this is, like with the rainbow and changing tints, is very distracting. It's hard to actually focus on the actual subjects at hand when the entire screen is changing colors. I think this, especially when it goes into the POV being like this is kind of horrendous. I think that duotone throughout, or tritone, whatever this is, throughout the entire time is a little too much. Not horrendous, maybe. I think it's a bad example, but I like how experimental you try to be, but it just doesn't really work here. I think you need to, instead of just slapping a filter on the entire screen, play with the depth more, play with the player layers more, right? Play with the extra layers more, instead of just slapping the filter on the entire screen. And maybe adding some 3D objects, some 3D compositing in there, but it'll have sold a little better. Again, there's a lot of, what's it called? Frame drops here. I like the lens flare, but you need to add the lens flare here as well, so it indirectly adds light on him. After the fact it adds light on him, it's kind of weird to not have that. This being inverted again is a little strange. Again, it's good, but the fact that there's so much, like, I don't know, if there's so much going on that kind of needs fixing. Again, the ideas were really there, execution wasn't. You get better you get better as time goes on, but that's all I really have to say. Anyways, hopefully this helped somebody.